Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to use BiFunction, BiConsumer and BiPredicate interface with examples. As we know that Java 8 introduced functional style programming which allows us to parameterize the normal methods by passing in functions. Alright, and we can use stream API and lambda expressions, function interfaces to perform functional style programming in Java. In previous video I have shown you how to use consumer, supplier, function and predicate functional interfaces with an example. So these are the few important predefined functional interfaces that we have discussed in my previous video tutorial. In this video tutorial we are going to take a look into BiFunction, BiConsumer and BiPredicate interface with lots of examples. Alright, so let me summarize the function, consumer and predicate interfaces. So these are the functional interfaces which takes single parameter. Okay, for example, function is a functional interface. It has apply method and it takes a single parameter and it returns a result. Okay, and similarly consumer is a functional interface. It has accept method. It takes a single parameter and doesn't return anything. Similarly, predicate is a functional interface. It has a test method. It takes a single argument and returns a boolean value. So if you look at these functional interfaces, so these interfaces takes a single parameter. Alright, sometimes we have a requirement to pass two parameters to the interface. In that case we can go for BiFunction, BiConsumer and BiPredicate functional interfaces. For example, BiFunction is a functional interface. It has an apply method and it takes two parameters. Alright, so it is similar to function interface, but this method takes two arguments and returns the result. Alright, so similarly BiConsumer is a functional interface. It has an accept method similar to consumer, but it takes two parameters. Alright, and BiPredicate is a functional interface. It has a test method similar to predicate, but it takes two parameters and returns a boolean value. So whenever you have a requirement to pass two parameters as a method argument, then you can go for these binary functions. Alright, so these functional interfaces are called binary functions because these functional interfaces takes two parameters. Alright, I hope you understood the differences between these functional interfaces and when to use these functional interfaces. Alright, so in this video we are going to learn a lot about BiFunction, BiConsumer and BiPredicate functional interfaces with lots of examples, and we are going to use a lambda expression to implement these functional interfaces. Alright, just watch this video till end. You will learn a lot about these functional interfaces and its use cases and when to use these functional interfaces and lot more things. Alright, let's get started. Let's begin with BiFunction functional interface. BiFunction functional interface is a built-in functional interface which is introduced in Java 8, and we can use a lambda expression to implement this functional interface. Okay, so look at here, BiFunction is a generic interface. It has three parameters here. So first parameter is the type of the first argument, and second parameter is type of the second argument to the function, and this is the type of the result of the function. Okay, BiFunction interface provides apply method, and this apply method takes two arguments. So this is the type of the first argument to the method, and this is the type of the second argument to the function, and this is the result of the method. Let's understand more about BiFunction interface with an example. So let's quickly create a class and let's name it as BiFunction demo. So let's begin with the traditional way. In a traditional way we just implement an interface like this. This is the BiFunction interface, and let's pass first argument type as an integer and second type argument as integer, and this is the result of the function. So let's also pass an integer here, and here quickly override apply method. So this is the first argument integer and this is the second argument. So let's add these two arguments, t plus u, and then this will return a sum of these two numbers. Okay, and here what we'll do, quickly create a main method and we create object of BiFunction interface, and then we'll call the apply method. like this. Alright, I'm going to just print the result here. So this is the BiFunction object, and then call apply method and just pass 10 and 20. So 10 plus 20, it's a 30. So you can see the result is 30. Okay, so you can also pass different parameters here, 200 and 100, and let us run the program and look at here 30, and this is 300. This is the traditional way to implement BiFunction interface, and we need to override method like this, and we provide the implementation. So let's go ahead and let's replace this traditional implementation with the lambda expression. So before that, what I will do, I will use anonymous implementation so that we can easily replace anonymous implementation with lambda expression. New, and then this is BiFunction anonymous implementation, and here we need to override the apply method and we need to provide the logic here. Okay, so let's remove this because we are using anonymous implementation of BiFunction interface here. Okay, so this is the anonymous class which implements BiFunction interface. So let's run the program and look at the output here. Now it's easy for us to replace this anonymous implementation with a lambda expression. As we know that lambda expression is an anonymous function which don't have any name. So let's go ahead and let's replace this name here. And here what we need to do is here we need to provide an arrow. So this is the syntax of lambda expression. Okay, so look at here, this is the lambda expression. Now even we make this lambda expression shorter, so let's replace this types here because compiler will know the type of the method. And here we can also remove the open and curly braces because this has only one statement. Look at here the lambda expression. In a single line we can do the step, right, like this. So let's run the program again. So look at here the output. Okay, so this is how we use BiFunction interface. So whenever you have two arguments and you want to perform some operation on two arguments and you want to return something, then you can use a BiFunction function interface. Alright, so similarly you can do for subtraction, multiplication and division. For example, here I can simply copy this lambda expression and I can name as subtraction, something like this, and t minus u, and here I'm going to just call this subtraction method here, and here I will pass 200 minus 100 like this. So let me run the program again. So look at here, 200 minus 100, it is 100. So similarly let's do it for multiplication. And here let me just copy this line of code, and here what we'll do, we'll call multiplication dot apply method. So this will multiply 200 and 100. So look at here, here we need to provide multiplication operator, and look at here the result 20,000. Similarly let's do it for division. So this is the division. Alright, and here we can just copy this statement, and here we can replace multiplication with a division like this. Let's run the program, and here is the output. Okay, so this is how we can use BiFunction functional interface to perform operation on two arguments. Okay, it's pretty simple, right? So what we can do, we can chain the function interface like this. So let me quickly create a function interface object here. So this will take one argument, let us say number, and this simply multiply number into number. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll first BiFunction, and then we call and then. So we first get the sum of two numbers and then we pass that number to this function object, and then what we will do, we will multiply these two numbers. So here I will pass 10 and 20. Okay, so basically what it does, it will call this BiFunction and then it will sum these two numbers, and the sum is again passed to this function, and this function will multiply the sum twice. Okay, and then we store result in some integer like this, and finally we print the integer. It's pretty simple, right? So let's go and let's see the output. It's 900, right? So sum is 10 plus 20, 30. 30 into 30, it's 900. Okay, so this is how we can use and then method to chain the function object. It's pretty simple, right? So one more example, we can say we can pass list 1 and list 2 as two arguments, and then we can combine these two lists and we can get as a result. Okay, so this is how we use a BiFunction functional interface. So look at here the name bi, it means that we need to pass two arguments and we get a result. Alright, I hope you understood the usage of BiFunction functional interface. As we know that functional interface is an interface which has only one abstract method, and we can use a lambda expression to implement a functional interface. Okay, and BiConsumer is a built-in functional interface which is introduced in Java 8, and we use a lambda expression to implement BiConsumer functional interface. Alright, BiConsumer functional interface is similar to consumer interface except it takes two arguments. Okay, so consumer functional interface takes single argument and BiConsumer functional interface takes two argument. Okay, and BiConsumer interface provides a method called accept. So this accept method takes two arguments and it returns nothing. Okay, look at here, the return type is void. So basically we use BiConsumer functional interface whenever we want to print or we want to perform some operation on these two arguments and we don't want to return anything. Okay, in this case we can use this BiConsumer functional interface. So it basically consumes these two arguments and it doesn't return anything. So it is similar to consumer functional interface. So in case of consumer interface, we use accept method with a single argument and we consume this argument and we don't return anything. If you want to know more about consumer functional interface, then you can visit my previous video tutorial. Let's understand more about BiConsumer functional interface with an example. So let's quickly create a class and let's name it as BiConsumer demo, and it has a main method. So select main method here. So let's begin with the very basic. So first let us see the traditional way implementation of BiConsumer functional interface. So let's take an integer here, first argument, and second argument also integer. Let's override the method. So we need to override accept method here, and what we'll do, we'll just print the sum of two numbers. Okay, so I'm going to just rename this a and it's b. So let us say a plus b. Okay, now what we'll do, in a main method we'll need to create object of and let's run the program and let us see the output. The result is 30. 10 plus 20, 30. Okay, so we are basically passing two integers and we are just adding these two integers and we are printing the result here. So whenever you want to take two objects as an input and you want to perform some operation on it and you don't want to return anything, then you can use BiConsumer functional interface. Alright, so this is the traditional way implementation of BiConsumer functional interface. So let's go ahead and let's see how to use lambda expression. Okay, so what we'll do here is first we'll use anonymous implementation of BiConsumer interface quickly, and then we'll replace it using lambda expression. So it's pretty simple. So let's remove this part. Okay, so this is the, here we need to call accept method. I am going to pass 10 and 20, and this is A and this is B. So this is the anonymous implementation of BiConsumer interface. Let's go and let's run the program and look at here the result. Now it's easy for us to replace this anonymous implementation with a lambda expression. As we know that lambda expression is a anonymous function which don't have any name. So let's go and let's remove this part, and let's provide an arrow here. This is the syntax of lambda expression. So this is the lambda expression. Even we make it shorter because this body, lambda expression body, has only one statement. So what we can do is we can remove the open and curly braces like this, and we can also remove the type here. So this is the lambda expression to to add two numbers and print the result. So let's run the program and let's see the output. Yeah, here we go. It's pretty simple, right? So similarly we can do it for other operations like subtraction, multiplication and division. So here I'm going to name it as subtraction A minus B, and here what I will do, I will simply call accept method, and this is 20 minus 10. So let's run the program, and here you can see the output 20 minus 10, 10. Okay, similarly let's see the other operations. Multiplication, and here we need to change the logic. Okay, and here multiplication dot accept, pass 10 and 50. Okay, so this will give a result as 500. So similarly let's do it for division. So let's change the name here, division, and change the logic. Now let's call accept method, 20 divided by 10. So this gives 2 as a result. Okay, so this is how we use BiConsumer function interface. It takes 2 arguments and it doesn't return anything, but it will does some operation on these 2 arguments. For example, here we are doing addition, multiplication, subtraction and division. So this is a very simple example to demonstrate how to use BiConsumer function interface. Now let us see how to use BiConsumer interface with for each method in map interface. So let's go ahead and let's create a map here. So this is the map, and here are few entries in a map. So this is the entry for Java, C++, JavaScript, Go and other entries. Now what we'll do, we'll use a for each method to print key and value of this map. Okay, let's go ahead and let's use for each. So look at here, for each method takes BiConsumer functional interface as a method argument. Okay, so look at here, this is how we use BiConsumer in a for each method. So what here we need to do is we need to implement a BiConsumer interface using lambda expression. So BiConsumer interface takes 2 arguments, let us say k and v. K stands for key and v stands for value, and then this is the lambda expression syntax, and here we need to provide open and curly braces. Okay, and then no need to just print k and here value. What is the error here? Yeah, we need to close the brace right here. Alright, so look at here, we are just printing key and value from the map. So this is very important. So look at here, for each method internally takes BiConsumer function interface, and BiConsumer interface takes 2 arguments. key and value, and then we are just printing this key value here. So this is how we use BiConsumer function interface with map, and we have also understood how to use BiConsumer function interface to perform different operations on two arguments. Okay, and it doesn't return anything. BiPredicate is a built-in function interface introduced in Java 8, and this interface takes two arguments. Look at here, t is the type of the first argument to the predicate, and u is the type of the second argument to the predicate, and it returns a boolean. So for example, BiPredicate interface provides a test method, and this test method takes two arguments and it returns a boolean result. Okay, you can use BiPredicate function interface whenever you want to compare two objects or two strings and you want to return the result as boolean. Alright, so BiPredicate function interface is similar to predicate function interface that we have discussed in previous video, but BiPredicate function interface takes two arguments and predicate function interface takes single argument. Alright, if you want to know more about predicate function interface, then you can visit my previous video tutorial. So just remember, BiPredicate function interface provides a test method. It takes two arguments and it returns a boolean value, either true or false. Okay, so let's understand more about BiPredicate function interface with an example. So let's quickly create a class and let's name it as BiPredicate demo, and let's quickly create a main method. So let's start with the very basic. Like first we'll see the traditional implementation of BiPredicate function interface. Here what we'll do, we will pass the string. So this is the example to compare two strings, and we return the boolean value. If both the strings are equal, then we return the true, otherwise false. Okay, and BiPredicate function interface provides a test method. Here we need to override it, and here what we'll do, we'll just compare. Here I will rename this s1 and s2, and here I will just compare these two strings by using equals method. s1 equals s2, so this returns true if both strings are equal, that is the content of both the strings are equal. So here in a main method I will create an object of this interface, BiPredicate equals to new, and then we are creating basically object of BiPredicate demo class here, and we need to call the method. So here we call the test method, and here I will pass first argument as Ramesh and second argument as Ramesh, and again one more, we can do one more test here. So I'm going to pass here Java guides, and here I will pass Java guides. So look at here the case. So this is the small letter and this is caps. Okay, so let's go and let's run the program, and look at here the post statement we have tested, it is a true and this is the false. So this is the traditional way implementation of BiPredicate function interface. Now let's go ahead and let's use lambda expression. Okay, so what I will do, I will first use anonymous implementation, and then we'll replace anonymous implementation with a lambda expression. It's pretty simple. So we need to just replace the logic here, that's it. And here we no need to implement this interface, and we no need to override the method here because we are already implemented this interface using anonymous class. So let's go and let's run the program. Look at here the output. Now it's easy for us to replace this anonymous class with the lambda expression. So as we know that lambda expression don't have any name, so let's go and let's remove this part. So look at here how I am constructing a lambda expression. So let's provide an arrow here. This is the syntax for lambda expression. So look at here, this is the lambda expression. Now even we can make this lambda expression shorter. So this lambda expression has only one statement. Let's go and let's remove the open and curly braces as well. Okay, And we can also remove the type here because compiler will automatically recognize the type based on the method argument type. Okay, so that's it. So look at here the lambda expression, it looks neat and concise, right? So let's run the program and look at here the output. So this is how we use a BiPredicate function interface to compare two strings and return a boolean value. Similar to predicate function interface, BiPredicate function interface also provides methods like and, negate, and or to check multiple conditions. Alright, we can check and condition, or condition, and negate condition. So let's go ahead and let's see. Let's create example to use and or methods. Okay, so for that what we'll do, we'll create a predicate implementation. Let's pass a post argument as integer and second argument also as integer. Okay, and here what we'll do, we'll create a predicate 2, create a lambda expression x, y. So these are the two parameters. So what I will do here is I will just add a condition x greater than y, something like this. Okay, and similarly let me copy this and let me create one more condition here. Let me give a name as BiPredicate 3, and let us say this is x equal to y. Okay, so these are the two conditions. Now let's go ahead and let's see how to use and or method. Okay, here I will call and method, and then this is 3, and then here I will call test, and I will pass 20 and 10. Okay, so let's take the result in a boolean. I am going to call it as result. Okay, and let's print the result to the console. Okay, so here BiPredicate 2, so this is the condition. It says x greater than y. Here we are passing two arguments, 20 greater than 10, so this is true. And this condition is x equal to y, so 20 equal to 10, so this is false, so this should be a false, result should be false. So look at here, result is false. Now let us see how to use or condition. Okay, so similarly let me quickly copy this and let's use or condition here instead of and here say result 1. Okay, so this condition is true and this condition is false, and this is true or false. It means that this should be a true. So look at here, this is logical or, this does logical or condition, and this does logical and condition. So look at here the output, it's true. Okay, so this is how we use and or method. Okay, so this is how we use BiPredicate function interface. So whenever you want to compare two objects and you want to return as a boolean, then you can use BiPredicate function interface. So look at here the bi, so it means that it takes two argument and it returns a boolean result. Okay, it is similar to predicate function interface, but it takes two argument. Alright, so this is all about BiPredicate function interface. I hope you understood how to use BiPredicate function interface. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Whenever I will publish such videos, you will get notified. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.